the major event tonight.
Oh yeah, that's hour-long
I'm sure there'll
speech.
be,
We have to go
there'll
home.
be hundreds of people coming in,
He'll be like, that's enough, that's enough.
and then to check you out, so. Ordinances, anybody have any question on the ordinances? The only one that's not, that we're not gonna vote on tonight is ordinance 824. Max had, called me and asked that we just discuss this, but the others, I believe it's, 2 through, or 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, those all need passed. Okay, does anybody have any questions on those? Max, you want to, we can move on to then the discussion of ordinance 824?
You want to discuss it? You want me to discuss it?
I don't want your
Go
throat to
ahead.
get sore, you gotta speak later.
Right, I gotta talk for an hour, so go
Well, let
ahead.
me ask you this, are we going to have one more council person? Aren't we too short?
Yeah.
If we don't have 6, we can't. Is that correct?
I know, Michelle had an emergency come up.
Jim's in Florida.
Yep,
I don't think we can pass emergency canada, Bob.
nope,
So we'll just have to,
That sucks.
hold on, Michelle had a family emergency come up,
hey,
so.
stuff happens, I get that, but, we'll just, get the first string tonight, if we could, do them at,
At our next
if we
one.
have them.
Okay,
Yeah, that's fine.
She shows up.
Let's see, 824. So that's over at Skip's Landing. There's if you look like where Skip's Landing is, you're right to the north of that. We own like a 1.45 little piece of property there along the wall landing. So we have to go over there and mow. They want to incorporate that into the Skip's Landing thing the county does. They'll take care of it, mow it, all that good stuff. So I don't see a reason for us not to. It's all gonna be part of that park anyway. It's just a less thing for us to have to load up tractors on.
Are they trading
trailers
us?
and all that.
Well, that's yet to be determined. That's what I was gonna say. They owe us an acre of land, so.
I need some new receptacles down here in the fourth square.
Okay, those are coming soon, hopefully.
So that's what that's about. It's just to incorporate it into the Skip's Landing.
Do we own it due to our main lines running through there? Do they
My
run through that?
understanding, Mayor, that was the old original well field part of there. We're still trying to find drawings, see if we have anything going through it currently.
Right, we'll still have right of way, so.
We'll still have a right of way easement.
The main valves are on the other side of the road beside where that gray
Right.
cement block building was. We have right of way in there, so.
any other questions?
I'll talk with commissioners and see what they're gonna give you, Roger.
I traded something in town. They own.
Free downtown concert tickets.
I tried to give some of those away last week.
Anything for next, any ordinance for next time?
Anything in addition to what we have on tonight for first reading, like I say, we can continue on till 26 or whatever it is.
Our next meeting?
Yeah.
Our next meeting's,
26.
yeah,
I don't know anything else besides that.
Sherry?
I don't have anything for next meeting.
Okay. You have something to?
I did want to pass out this certificate and kind of go over it real quickly if anybody, unless, whenever you want.
Is that,
It's our estimated resources, our first official certificate.
oh, be my guest.
I kind of just thought it might be, honestly, let me start again. Honestly, I'm not sure if council members have ever seen this certificate.
Yeah.
Is everything good?
Yeah, Roger, you need one, Mike, here.
But I thought, you know, it might help to go over it and kind of understand where we are, how our revenue comes in and so forth. we'll skip page one. The very front cover is just a summary. So if you flip the page onto the back, I did yours two-sided. At the very top is the general fund. The unencumbered balance column for every one of these is what we ended our cash less any POs that we had setting there. So essentially that was our cash column. The very first one is our general fund. It's what they estimate that we will have come in taxes. That's the property taxes, and the homestead and the rollback, the 502. Other sources is just all other different revenue that the general fund takes in. Mass majority of it, as we know, is income tax. And our permits and fees and cemetery, municipal court, a whole host of things that come in through there. Then you have your special revenue funds.
Sure, that just the taxes, how's that reflect on previous years? You know, is it up, down?
That is up a little bit from what it's, last year, I think it was around 490. So it just fluctuates. I think it depends on how they do their evaluations and when they do their evaluations down there. Now, I will say, we never really collect the full amount that because not everybody pays their taxes. I mean, there's a pretty good collection rate in the treasurer's office. I think she's around 97-98% collection rate. So, you know, we get pretty close.
So this is what we should collect, but we never.
If
get-
everybody paid all their taxes
We know better than that.
in the world,
All right.
this is what that's what they would say. That's what the
So that's not-
valuation is.
Sorry,
What?
didn't mean to interrupt.
No.
That does not include the JED taxes, or it does?
No. What the JED taxes, what we get out of the JED is just our little under 0.5%. And that is figured into the other sources.
Other sources?
Yeah, because that income tax in the JED gets distributed, you know, through the Port Authority of the township. and us.
We get,
Yeah,
So-
we get our cut. I
We
was
get-
just wondering
when
where
we-
I
when
was
we-
wondering where our cut went.
When we get our cut,
we
it
get
goes into other sources.
0.46%
Mhm.
after we
Yeah.
get a percent for fire, for safety
Yeah.
service, and then we get 0.46 as a number
That
of
goes to the
that
general
other
fund.
percent.
So, and again, just important to note at the top, you know, this official certificate of estimated resources, these are all just estimated numbers, and I adjust this throughout the year multiple times. I think last year I adjusted the budget 11 times. So it just is always, you know, changing. So then when we go down through the next highlighted special revenue, all these different funds are funds that are essentially restricted and can only be used for their intended purposes. The indigent fund, the computerization, special project, municipal court, probation fund, those are all funds that the revenue is generated downstairs through municipal court. And the only little bit of liberty that the judge has is with his special projects fund. And that's where he, you know, he does his flowers and, you know, whatever, everything else that he does. Lodging, that's where our hotels, motels, Airbnbs, that money comes into the lodging fund that is then dispersed 80%. No, excuse me, 95% to the CBB,
Yeah.
and we retain 5%. It used to be 80-20, so that's why I was jumping back there. Local CRF, we don't receive that anymore. Fire fund, you know, that's the 0.5% income tax increase. Their portion of their JED revenue is figured also right in with the other sources. The retirement fund, that is money out of our income tax distribution. We have the ordinance that allocates income tax dollars to various different funds, and that is that one, the retirement fund. And it's capped at that it can only take in $75,000 a year, but it usually brings in right around 55. The safety, security, law enforcement, that is the other 0.5% income tax increase or income tax rate. Skipping down, there's a little bit of the one opioid that we had left over. Street construction, that's our street fund. And how they're funded there, approximately $1.5 million through income tax, county license tax.
gas
That's,
tax.
yeah, well, no, gasoline goes into 207. Those are their primary ones, income tax, county license, and some other miscellaneous income. Perpetual care, that's the 206. That is interest that we earn off of, we have some cemetery endowment CDs. And those principal will always sit there, and we are permitted to spend the interest, and the interest that we earn has to go into this 206 fund and can only be used for items, in the cemetery. Here's the 7.5 state route. That's where 7.5% of our gasoline tax, so you're right, 7.5% of the gasoline tax must go into this 7.5 state route fund. And that money can only be used on a state route going through the city or a feeder route going to a state route when we do paving or repair. The other portion does, you're correct, Mark, the other portion does go into the 201 street fund. The street levy fund, that is the property tax, and you can see that 431 is right underneath the tax column. So that is the tax dollars that come in. You can see we started the year, we usually like to start it, hold back 50 to 75,000. We did a lot of paving this year, so it went down to just under $22,000. The two CDBG funds, those are stuff through regional development. That's money that comes in and out through there. Only they tell me what they need and how to disperse the money. MVL, motor vehicle license tax, that is when you renew your license, and there's the $5 or $10 fee on there for each vehicle title or motorcycle title. That's where that money goes into there. That is also used for street paving, engineering of streets. That's what that money is for. 812 recreation, when we still had the recreation fund or board, that was money that's still kind of sitting there that can be spent for, that board has to approve any money that's.
Right, so we still have a board, since we still have money, because if that money ever gets spent, it has to be approved by the board. It's not a very active board, but the board is there.
Right. The Roscoe Cemetery, that fund is, there is a Carl T. Hoop Trust. The trust is held by a bank. In his will, a portion of his interest comes to the city to help maintain Roscoe Cemetery, very specific. So we get about $15,000 a year. In the past, since we've done some paving over there. We have used it to buy equipment, it's equipment that's being used in the cemetery, might be help towards mowers that's being shared within all the cemeteries. But that's what that fund is for. So all those funds, those special revenue funds, that total on the front, the estimated revenue, 5.5 million almost, that money is all restricted. We just can't spend it on anything that we want. It's restricted. Debt service, we have the street debt that is funded, the $60,000. It actually comes directly off. I talked about the income tax and the allocations. There's a little bit allocated that funds that up to $60,000 a year. And right now that's paying off the Second Street debt. Then we list our capital projects funds. That's our 401 capital improvement and our fire fund. The 401 capital improvement, again, it is funded through income tax. Again, I'm referencing back to that same ordinance that there's several items listed on there, a percentage. I think it's might be 5% that goes each month from income tax into the capital improvement. Fire capital, when the income tax was passed, the 0.5%, a quarter of it had to go into the fire capital improvement fund. So that's what that generates. There's got the, and then if you flip it over, it's when we get into the enterprise funds. The stormwater, the $10 now moved. It had been a debt service fund, because we were collecting that $9.20 or $9.75, we were collecting that to pay off a debt. Since we redid the ordinance and everything, it now is considered an enterprise fund. So you can see the estimated revenue there, 660,000. It goes down to the water fund, water contingency, the water debt reduction. You know, you can see I didn't estimate any revenue for this year since we stopped the collection for that water debt reduction. And then sewage contingency, and our solid waste. And then we have West Lafayette Water. That's the money that when we took over their lines and their last bit of money that they had, that came to us. So that money is to be used in West Lafayette, or, you know, some maybe repairs along the way to West Lafayette. We have then internal service funds, and those are restricted for what the use is there. The one big one is our insurance escrow fund. That's our health insurance. And it's funded by me taking what I call escrow payments from the other funds, like, you know, 701 water, sewer, general fund, you know, each department within those. You know, I pull from everybody's budget based off of the number of employees that they have on the insurance. So that's how we fund that. And then we have some fiduciary funds. And again, those are restricted funds and can only be used for those intended purposes. The fire pension, you can see it's listed under the tax column, $60,272. Out of your property tax, it's, I want to say it's 0.20 mil, or is it 0.30? I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank on that, but $60,000 of our property tax is required by law to go into the fire pension fund. And we just use that to pay our portion. The city's share of fire pension is 24%. So that's, you know, $60,000 that we can use towards the employer's share of the fire pension. State patrol, that is money that comes in through municipal court for traffic tickets, violations through state patrol. 50% of it gets dispersed to, no, wait a minute, take that back. 50% of it stays in the general fund. The other 50% goes to the state patrol fund. That it is then dispersed out of the state patrol fund to the Coshocton County Law Library. And that's all by law that we have to do that. Bid bond insurance. If there's a house fire in town and somebody's, their homeowner's insurance by high revised code, 35% of their claim must come to the city. It stays within that fund until the fire chief deems that the money can be released and that the repairs have been met and it's made up to code. And there's, you know, there's a significant balance in there right now, and that's the remaining for the church fire. Other than that, the bid bond part of it is when we do chemical bonds or any other bids like that, and most of it's $300 check with those, that money goes into there and it gets dispersed right back out to them. The Backards, that is again another trust that we have, and then you have your two JEDs, the Tusk and the Franklin JED, and then we have one more last fiduciary fund is the West Lafayette Sewer Fund, and that is where the utilities office is billing the West Lafayette customers for their sewer, and then we're collecting that money, and we retain a fee that stays into the sewer fund. But since that's technically not our money, that is a fiduciary fund. So with this, you know, yes, it looks like we have, you know, our total, you know, estimated resources, $35 million. You know, that's probably not what we're all going to receive in throughout the year. But the only fund that has, I'm going to say, free reign is the general fund. The general fund is the only fund that can help any other fund. So, for example, if something would happen catastrophic in the street department and, you know, that fund started to take a deficit, and I've seen it before, and I've seen it back in history, the general fund can write a check to the street fund and help that out, you know, just the same as something catastrophic would happen with the water fund. The general fund could help that fund. So when you talk about just having some, flexibility with money, and just paying, it's only the general fund that has that freedom. Everything else is, for those only intended purposes and kind of, buttoned down.
Which category does the craft money that we have to give Riverview, where does that fall into one of these? And how much,
It's the general fund.
okay, how much longer are we required to pay that?
We have to, here, probably in the next couple months, we'll disperse the 23. Wait a minute, what year are we in? We're in 24. We'll disperse the 23. And 24 is the last tax year. And then we'll disperse it in 25, and that will be the end. And come to the end, Roger, at that end of that 10 years, because I keep a running total of it, we will have just rebated back just under $2 million between Craft and Riverview. Just under $2 million that has been rebated back.
What's the ballpark, 225 to 250,000?
Yeah, last year, I think each one was about 125.
Right.
It was up a little bit, they have the baseline salary, so it's anything, over that. So, but yeah.
We're looking forward to that.
No kidding.
So I just, I just got to thinking about it, and I'm like, I'm pretty darn certain I probably have never passed this out, but, so when we do our appropriations, in December, we pass the appropriations. And then by the first of the year, we pass this at the year end, then right at January, I have to do this and submit our estimated resources. And that's where our appropriations can never exceed the amounts on here. They can never exceed our estimated resources. So, and we're about, our appropriations are about 10 million under what we appropriated. So that's good. But I don't know, a little 101 that I think is always important to know, and maybe help understand how how our finances truly work. And, we are really restricted on what we can spend, everything except for the general fund. So if anybody ever has any questions on it, wants more information, hey, what can we do with this? Just call me, just stop in,
Any questions?
Auditing 101, city content 101. Thank you.
We have nothing for this. No ordinances, so we're good, right?
Well, I walked away last time, didn't think I would.
Yeah.
Story of my life.
Any committees have anything for the good of the order? There you have a report for us, besides your speech.
I do. Everyone's favorite topic is potholes this time of year. I'm happy to report that God is cooperating and has blessed us with beautiful weather, that we haven't had to pay a bunch of overtime or pay for salt, fuel. So just had a blessed winter and hope we stay that way all the way till May. So fingers crossed that happens. Potholes, we currently are not using cold mix. Cold mix is a waste of time and money. You fill a hole and then get a weather event, and then that cold mix is all over the road. So we have been using, we have a 4-ton hot box, which is basically a box that keeps asphalt. It's just a trailer that keeps asphalt hot. And only location that we can get hot mix from is Grove City. So that's been a challenge. We've called everywhere. I think we actually called Strasburg to a location. They don't have it. So this time of year, we've been doing what we can do to fill holes, and we will continue to do that. I know just about where every pothole is in town. So, and I don't know how many work orders we have, but we have them all. When we get it in, we try to get a whole area all at one time. Cemetery crews working on trees in the cemetery, getting them taken down. Aggregation, the deadline was today to opt out. If you opted out, you just paid more money, so if you didn't do anything, you will save money. Your bill won't change, nothing will change other
Excuse me,
than
Mayor.
you'll save money.
When are they gonna complete the gas negotiations?
I don't know if we're gonna negotiate March or April. We're gonna try to get out of winter and negotiate gas outside of winter rates. So that's kind of our strategy on gas, because just it's winter and you know what gas rates do during the winter.
I had a
So
couple questions asked of me Saturday night, on the electric. If someone is enrolled for an automatic pay to AEP,
like a budget payment.
or online, it's just directly
It's the
drawn.
same.
They don't have to do anything.
Nothing.
Well, that's not-
Yep,
You're
you're
still paying
billing.
AEP.
Right, the electric lines, the poles, everything will stay the same. There won't be
So
any,
they don't have to do anything. If they
Nothing.
opt in, they just
Nothing.
continue to
They will
operate. That's
save
what I
money.
told them, but I wanted to make sure.
and it's about a 40 to 42% savings on the supply charge, and that's it. So people will notice that it will only be the supply charge, and it'll say you're with Direct Energy now. It's basic. I mean, to me, I was actually talking to Councilman Gross before this meeting, and a lot of people have had different experiences with aggregation, with the people who knock on your door and say, show me your bill, I'll sign you up, I'll save you money. And somehow negative things have happened in the past with people. I want people to know I live here, and if we're paying more, if the negotiated rate goes beyond AEP's rate, we will be getting out of this aggregation program pretty quick. So, and at that time, once aggregation is passed, you never have to revisit that. Right now, there's about 680 townships, villages, cities across Ohio who have aggregation. There's about 370 that are actively participating in aggregation in a program. So if we decide, hey, we don't like this is too much, this is not worth it, we never have to revisit the actual ballot initiative. We would just have to find a new supplier or a new program to participate in. So people ask what's going to happen June of 2025 when it expires. We should have a rate. We'll have a rate before then, and I'd like to lock in a 4, 5, 6 year, even if we can get a good rate that we know is not going to go anywhere near the AEP rate, then we're going to negotiate a good rate.
A
So
couple of people that approached me were concerned when they received a letter that no one from the city had signed it. So they didn't know if it was actually a
Right.
legit letter or not.
well, another.
I told them we
right.
had meetings. I told
Right.
them also call.
Right. And and another thing that we noticed was Energy Harbor put 6.54 per kilowatt and didn't spell it out in a dollar amount. So, and AEP's is spelled out 0.0113. So I took some calls on how it was wrote out, and people thought it was $6.54 a kilowatt hour and all kinds of stuff. So to me, if you didn't do anything, you won. I don't foresee any issues, but if we have issues, we'll take care of them. But and if people are already participating in a program, that's why you didn't get a letter, because you're already in a program. Had people that want to know how they get out of their current program and call your supplier and talk to them. Sometimes there's an opt-out fee, sometimes there's not. So there's a lot of different programs, and that's what whoever your supplier is now, you're gonna have to call and get those stipulations.
So
So
once they are through with that contract, they can opt in.
right, they can opt in ours. So some programs, I think Bob talked to someone who was on a month to month.
Yeah,
So-
some there's
there's-
even people that are with a different supplier now other than AEP, but they negotiated their rate a long time ago. And then since that term expired, they've just been month to month. They didn't even realize it, so, and then the people that I particularly remember speaking to about that incident had no problem with calling the people they're with, calling their Energy Harbor, and it was seamless. They actually called back to tell me how smooth it went and everything was just fine for them, so they were happy with that. Everyone spread the word for us, with everyone they know to make it smoother, so had a lot of fun. Very busy week and a half last or so.
It keeps you out of trouble.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, that's right, yeah.
We wanted to announce, we hired Shanna Stanton as my new executive assistant here at City Hall. Shanna brings experience from the JFS world and Ohio Means Jobs. She's connected with a lot of organizations and kind of already knows the players in the game. Had a lot of great candidates, had a lot of great interviews. Max and Bob interviewed first round, and then I sort of picked, so kind of blind interviews, and want to thank anyone who did apply, and want everyone to know that there's usually an opportunity at the city, so keep us in mind, and it was a tough decision. Max and Bob finally had a tough job for once. We have recently hired a new firefighter, Craig Hunter. He comes with experience. He's a captain at Three Rivers Fire currently. He will begin service around the beginning of March. Trees at Hall Park, the trees that grow over the courts every year that are a nuisance that we've had to trim. We are actually clearing the whole, I want to say the whole hill at Hall Park where all the big pine trees, the huge trees, the overhanging trees that actually ruin the court. Trevor Reidenbaugh is doing that in conjunction with the rec department. This week they should be done, I'm assuming. And last but finally not least, we lost our building maintenance man, Corey Wilson, unexpectedly last week. Just want the community, want all of our staff to know, if you are in crisis, you can text 988, you can call 988. Really just very unexpected loss, and it was definitely a tough week last week, and our thoughts and prayers go out to Corey and his family. And that's all. If anyone has any questions, I'll definitely answer.
Anybody? So we need to backtrack since Michelle's here. You wanna give your update? Are you ready for that?
Yes, I can.
She has a little update on the bike trails, so.
I had a meeting last week with George eBay and Dan Rice from the Ohio Erie Canal Coalition, along with Fred Wachtel. And pretty much the main takeaway from that meeting was that we need to have a countywide green space and trail plan. And the estimated cost for doing something like that is 20 to 30,000. But he said that having that plan has proven to spark additional investments to get things done. They do have plans on their website and templates that we can use to implement and kind of, why reinvent the wheel to get it going. And I've reached out to our county officials and given them an update on kind of what I was thinking and to find out more about what they were thinking and what they have going on, just so we're not doing twice as much work. As you know, everything that they've done at the Riverwalk and Skip's Landing, they've got a multi-use class slated for construction on County Road 621. Beginning at the end of that connector path on 36. And so that'll go, well, we know that, behind Walmart into Canal Louisville. But then they've applied for additional funding for a multi-use path to start at Lake Park at the boat canal entrance and then go behind Genesis past 36 out to County Road 202 and then circling back around to 621 and then hopefully they've not applied for additional funding, but the next phase would then to be a walking bridge that goes over very similar to the one that's in Newark. So, which would be pretty cool. If they complete all of that, that's gonna be about 10 miles of path. But they were definitely interested in working together and doing what we can. A big challenge is gonna be, you know, within the city, there isn't a lot of space. And a lot of the property, and even in the county, is owned by somebody else. So it's just a matter of doing that due diligence to figure out what can we do. So I think as far as the city goes, the county kind of has somewhat of a plan together. The places where we could connect to the bike paths are, the Buckhorn Creek Trail in Tuscarawas County. It's right outside of, Newcomerstown. Let's see. And then, the other option would be the Panhandle Trail that's through Conesville. So there are a couple different connectors that we could possibly look at. And then in the meantime, really, I think it would be important to work towards keeping Coshocton or making Coshocton more bike centric, which is something that I've talked to y'all about before. Where can we, extend bike lanes? Where can we put in more places for cyclists to park their bikes and feel safe? And the same with pedestrians. I think cycling and pedestrians is all the same kind of thing. And with everything that we have going on in our community right now with being able to be outdoors and all of the grants that go into the rivers and stuff, and this it's a really cool time and people are really excited about it. So this is something that I'm really excited to move forward. Yeah, and that's my update. Thanks. Mhm.
Have any questions for him? Appreciate you doing all that.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Max?
The mayor covered just about everything. We're obviously, we've had, several water leaks that we've had to take care of over the last 2 weeks since we last met, changing weather. There's one up today up on Ridgewood Drive, Short Ridgewood Drive. We've been working on a storm sewer project over in, Roscoe Village. On, Hill Street. So we're already started up quite to the cemetery there. And, we're down probably what, 300 feet or so. Yeah. Finding new catch basins, some of the old clay tile collapsed, so working on stormwater utility stuff. Dave, you may want to touch on, a sewer line issue down at McWayne that was kind of took up some of our time.
Right at the edges of McQuain's parking lot and the railroad tracks, there was a main sewer line that goes under the railroad tracks, and that's the issue. That line looks like it has filled up with a buildup they call tuberculation that is restricting their flow out of their process. So we've got it jetted to keep them running. We had a vendor in today to look at rebuilding 2 manholes, cleaning that line, and then lining it with a polyester so it doesn't build up long-term. He's saying and it's about 120 feet of pipe. It'll take him 2 days just to clean the pipe. Another day to line it. During that time, we'll have to bypass the flow from the Meadows apartment. That's the real issue. We're getting all the flow from the Meadows. We get very little out of the McQuain. They've actually had one backup in their basement they've cleaned. So then they called us to jet and get it open. So we're keeping it open. We're inspecting it routinely. That line, like a lot of other construction, it's got a lot of age on it and it needs some attention.
Thank you. Let's see. Talk about aggregation, fielded numerous calls on that. That was a lot of people in my office about it. Did meet with Roscoe Village today. They'd like to start investigating a possible street lighting project over there. So I instructed them to get a price on what it would cost, and then we'll go out and see if we can find a grant money, because we know that will be our project, because it's the cities. When it comes to that, we own the property, so you have to own the property, you're going to get grants. So. And I did bring up to him about steps there, especially by the guy makes the leather works and things, and he's well aware of that. And if you noticed over there, he's working today on the wall there where the Christmas tree is, and then hopefully they're going towards the steps to put some new railroad ties in. We did take our railroad ties back, just get them out of the way. We may need them on all summer over there. And, I guess we, now that we have six, now we want to try to get those other ordinances.
Yep, we'll pass them.
If
If Chad gives me the
And I think that's all I have. I covered most of the things. I think, I got to sit in on the interviews with the firemen. We interviewed 3 guys. All 3 of them could easily fit in the organization over there. Very impressive, the 3 that made it through both the physical and written testing, and 3 very qualified young men. Craig is already a captain at Three Rivers, and he's also been through as his level 2 certification, so he can hit the ground running for us. So.
Circle back to sheriff.
Hey, I just wanted to let you know, our 22 audit is not yet complete. The state, auditors, we contract with them to do our audit. And they typically have it done by, it would have been November of 23. Quite frankly, they're extremely short of staff. They've lost staff. They're still in the process of it, but Heather's looking, they were just doing some more inventory today of us. She's looking probably the end of March for our 2022 audit to be complete. This is the first time since I've been auditor that it hasn't been completed the year, which quite frankly, it makes it harder on us to have to try to remember if they have questions. Okay, now let me go back to 22. Here we are on 24, let me remember. And we might have to dig stuff back out of, that's been packaged up and so forth. But I just wanted to give you that update since we didn't, in case you missed the post audit hearing there in November and didn't think you weren't invited, we haven't had it yet.
I do just one thing real quick. Probably won't be at next meeting, but at some point I'll probably be asking for an ordinance to give me the ability to go out for bid on the roof on City Hall. When we had the cold snap with the snow combined, that's minor there.
Don't look anywhere else.
We've been putting off it probably 10 years past when it should have been replaced. We held off on it when we put the new HVAC unit in, because we didn't want to put a brand new roof on and got one up with that big unit, but it showed itself, so.
That's why you pay Bob, isn't it? Bob, get an ordinance ready so we can present this thing to their next meeting and get it done.
Before it rains.
Yeah, before it rains again. Pressure's on, Bob.
They'll need to warm up some, just.
Yeah, well, I know, but if we get it,
Yeah, if you
get it on the
passed,
agenda and get it passed,
I
then
can get it done.
we can have it ready. So, the longer you wait, the longer it's gonna take. Anybody else? Wow, 6:28. See you guys. We'll start our council meeting at 6:35. Okay, see you in chambers. Okay, let me. Today's Monday, February 12th, 2024. It's 6:35. It's the regular scheduled Coshocton City Council meeting. Call the meeting to order. Call the roll, please.
Andrews.
Here.
Barcroft.
Here.
Rose. Here. Johnson.
Here.
Moore here. Turner.
Here.
Okay, I need a motion to excuse Jim Kreis.
I'll make that motion.
Moore. Andrews. Call the roll, please.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Rose. Yes. Johnson.
Yes.
Moore, yes. Turner.
Yes.
Stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
On behalf of the opportunity to serve the city in this capacity, Lord, I would pray that everything we say and do would be to your pleasing. Lord, I would also be remiss if we didn't lift up the Corey Wilson family. We pray, Lord, that you would just undergird them in this time of their loss. And we pray this in your name. Amen.
Counselor, email the minutes from the January 22nd council meeting. Any questions or comments? Not, I need a motion to accept. Johnson, Barcroft, seconded. Call the roll, please.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Rose. Yes. Johnson.
Yes.
Moore, yes. Turner.
I would say that.
Good. Any public input tonight? Okay, mayor's report before mayor gets up here. I hope everybody got their popcorn ready. The counselor emailed the mayor's report, the general fund and building permits. Stuff, so.
Most exciting part of my whole year.
No.
Yeah, talking about myself. I love it, right? Yeah. All right, so welcome 2024. I always do this February right before Valentine's Day because it's Councilman Moore's Valentine's gift from me.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Good evening, President Hilgenberg and City Council members. Warmest welcome to everyone in attendance tonight and the millions watching from home. I'm excited to share with you all the many projects and accomplishments my office has been involved in this past year and highlight the many projects that have been completed or in process and on the horizon. 2023, time sure does fly when you're having fun. Every day is a new adventure and opportunity for me to make our community a better place. I am truly humbled to be the mayor of my hometown for another 4-year term and will continue to see the many projects and upgrades through, as well as come up with creative ideas to take Coshocton to the next level. I couldn't do any of this without the support of the voters and want to begin with a big thank you. The wheels of progress are greased daily by my administrative staff, Max Crown and Bob Beaumont. And I would like to also thank all the department heads, elected officials, and staff that work hard every day to serve the residents of our great city. No pictures, Bob. Thanks to my family as well for your patience and understanding and support during those complicated days I may have every once in a while. Special thanks to Ginger for always knowing what's for dinner. I would like to report to you that our city is in good financial shape with our general fund ending in the black at 1.52 million, despite an estimate from 2022 that predicted a deficit of nearly $500,000 for 2023. Income tax collections were up 5.3% for the year. This is a joint effort of successfully negotiating contracts, department heads spending funding wisely, merging a department with the county, the auditor making some great financial moves, and just being fiscally conservative with your hard-earned tax dollars. It takes a team, and I'm super thankful to be leading it. I am happy to report that I do take the city's finances seriously and will make sound decisions to keep us afloat through good times and not so good times. Many projects were completed and started this year to improve infrastructure within our city. New water lines and faucets were installed at South Lawn Cemetery by our cemetery department. In Roscoe Village, trees were removed and brick sidewalks were repaired. The Public Works Department replaced curbs and straight freshly paved White Woman Street. Our distribution department also started a $2.4 million water meter replacement program where every meter will be replaced, updating decades-old equipment. With help from our government affairs team at Strategic Public Partners, we have secured $1 million for the Chestnut Street water line repair, which will begin mid to late summer this year, as well as over $10 million in funding from our state and federal partners to regionalize our water system further to our neighbors in Warsaw. We are in the preliminary stages of engineering to run water and sewer to Conesville, expediting the development of the former AEP site now owned by the Frontier Group. Within the next couple of years, you will notice upgrades to traffic signals, thanks to our partners at ODOT from the Small Cities Grant totaling $1 million. Late last year, my administration proposed a stormwater utility program, and with council approval and the community's help, we will generate $600,000 to $700,000 a year to upgrade storm basins and piping that have been unimproved or non-existent for a century. Our crews will continue alley paving, another improvement that has waited roughly 4 decades. Funding has also been secured for a complete sidewalk on South 2nd Street from Vine Street, the Dollar General area, connecting to the new sidewalk on Browns Lane. Exciting stuff. Trees will also be improved around town.
thanks to the work of Deb Wallace and Tom Heading, who helped secure a USDA urban forestry grant. Cleaning up Coshocton will always be a top priority of my administration, and with the hard work of my property code enforcement officer, Mark Schrock, who hates any notoriety whatsoever, we towed more than 250 junk vehicles, cleaned up 20 properties, and mowed unkept properties 95 times, creating more than $25,000 in tax assessments that will be attached to property owners' taxes. Multiple structures were raised with the help from funding through the Coshocton Port Authority, through the Ohio Department of Development. The city will continue to secure funding to demo both of our former glove factories, and we definitely will continue our pursuit to return our 1,000 Carnegie Library to public use and pursue owners of other vacant buildings to improve them or sell them to someone who will make them shine once more. Housing development is something that hasn't occurred in many years in our community, and it's very exciting to see single-family homes being built on once vacant lots, as well as second-story apartments downtown. I'm currently focused on a couple of areas within the city to make a large residential neighborhood a reality. Downtown is coming alive again with building improvements, business expansion, activities, and entertainment. This year, the Frew building has gone through the renovation process with 4 commercial storefronts and 10 luxury apartments. The old Sue's Hallmark, AKA the Honey House, is nearing completion with 2 storefronts and 5 beautiful luxury apartments. Many businesses are continuing to thrive and invest in the downtown area. A fine example of this would be Rust Accord. I don't know if anyone went to the book fair, but it was a hit, so exciting. We also established a community entertainment district that connects downtown and Roscoe Village, opening up the possibility of more eating establishments. The Coshocton County Commissioners also did an amazing job with the help of the Coshocton Foundation on the Holiday Light Show. So no one needs to go to Newark or Cambridge now, just come to Coshocton. I see this growing each year. And last, but certainly not least, and if anyone needs tickets, Chad's got them for this summer. The Our Town, Coshocton, and Councilman Johnson have done an amazing job booking and setting up some great entertainment through funding from the Coshocton Foundation and local sponsors that have brought our community together and made us dance in the street like never before. One of the most time-consuming yet rewarding projects I've been working on this year is for a piece of the $500 million in funding through the Governor's Office of Appalachia. The Coshocton Collaborative, which is located in the front portion of the former Pastime Theater, has been awarded $4.8 million in funding in the first round. In the second round, Skip's Landing with a complete downtown streetscape overhaul with a price tag of nearly $16 million has been requested, and we should find out very soon if our project will be awarded this much needed funding, along with Tiffany, I wouldn't forget, $9 million request in to finish out the Pastime Theater downtown. This has truly been a team effort between the city, the county, and the Port Authority. And truly, I'm ready for it to be over and they just write us a big check and we fix everything and live happily ever after. Our fire department, can't leave the fire department out. They upgraded equipment as well this year and have big plans for a training facility in this coming year on Poplar Street. Chief Dreher purchased a new SUV locally, which was also marked, and lighting was installed by a local company. A drone was purchased with help from the Coshocton Foundation and has already been put into service. Our department answered 560 calls in 2023 for service. We have always known our area is a beautiful place. This year, it was solidified by a couple of great accomplishments. Coshocton was one of 5 communities awarded with the Scenic Ohio Award, which awards communities who work to improve the visual qualities, distinctive culture, and historical character. Madison Miller was named Miss Ohio this year and represented Coshocton and Ohio amazingly on the national stage as Miss America. I could talk for hours on the great things going on within our community. I may have forgot to mention a person or organization, so if I have, thanks for your commitment to making our area great. And I am looking forward to working with everyone to continue the progress. Please remember, I cannot fix everything that has been neglected for decades. I am not perfect and will always be a work in progress, just like my hometown. God bless.
Heard enough. Good job. I'll excuse you from your report. Good job.
I wasn't gonna answer any questions after that, so.
Go ahead, fire away. Okay, council, you emailed the, law director's report for the month of January. Also, you emailed the auditor's report for January. Sherry, you have anything to add or elaborate on?
Not unless there are any questions.
Okay, I need a motion to accept the auditor's report.
Make a motion to accept the report.
Call the roll.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft. Yes. Rose. Yes. Johnson.
Yes.
Moore. Yes. Turner.
Yes.
Sheriff's report, your email the sheriff's January report. Sheriff Crawford, do you have anything to call?
He had to leave another commitment.
Okay, did he leave you in charge? You have anything else to report?
Not right this point.
Okay. We'll go into legislation. Okay. Okay, I'll ask the clerk to give the first reading of ordinance 324.
An ordinance authorizing the service director to sign all documents and authorize payment necessary for the city to purchase property at 1806 Chestnut Street, Coshocton, Ohio.
Heard the first reading of ordinance 324. Questions or comments? Motion does.
I make a motion to.
Skip the second reading, go directly to the third reading.
The third reading.
Ordinance
I'll
324.
second that.
Call the roll.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Moore. Yes. Turner.
Yes.
Give the third reading of ordinance 324, please.
An ordinance authorizing the service director to sign all documents and authorize payment necessary for the city to purchase property at 1806 Chestnut Street, Coshocton, Ohio.
Question is, should ordinance 324 pass? Call the roll.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Rose. Yes. Johnson.
Yes.
Moore. Yes. Turner.
Yes.
Ordinance 324 is passed. Ask the clerk to give the first reading of ordinance 424.
Ordinance authorizing the service director to sign all documents, authorize payment necessary for the city to purchase property from the William Scott Brown Memorial Trust.
For the first reading of ordinance 424.
Make a motion to suspend the rules and the third reading.
Call the roll, please.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Yes.
Moore. Yes. Turner.
Yes.
For the third reading of ordinance 424, please.
Ordinance authorizing the service director to sign all documents and authorize payment necessary for the city to purchase property from the William Scott Brown Memorial Trust.
Question is, should ordinance 424 pass? Call the roll.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Moore. Yes. Turner.
Yes.
Ordinance 424 is passed. Ask the clerk to give the first reading of ordinance 524.
An ordinance vacating an alley totaling 0.08 described below the Cambridge Heights addition.
For the first reading of ordinance 524.
Make a motion. And the rules to go to third reading. Moore.
Hudson. Call the roll, please.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Moore. Yes. Turner.
Yes.
Give the third reading of ordinance 524.
Ordinance vacating an alley totaling 0.08 described below in the Cambridge Heights edition.
Question is, should ordinance 524 pass? Call the roll.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Gross. Yes. Johnson.
Yes.
Moore. Yes. Turner.
Yes.
Ordinance 524 is passed. Ask the clerk to give the first reading of ordinance 624.
An ordinance authorizing the rezoning of property located in the 500 block of South 12th Street, Coshocton, Ohio, parcel number as listed.
I'll make a motion, then suspend the rules, and go to the third reading. Second.
Call the roll.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Gross. Yes. Johnson.
Yes.
Moore. Yes. Turner.
Yes.
Third reading of ordinance 624, please.
An ordinance authorizing rezoning of the property located in the 500 block of South 12th Street, Coshocton, Ohio, parcel numbers as listed.
Question is, should ordinance 624 pass? Call the roll.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Gross. Yes. Johnson.
Yes.
Moore. Yes. Turner.
Yes.
Ordinance 624 is passed. Give the first reading of ordinance 724.
Transfer.
Any questions or comments for the first reading? Any questions or comments of 724?
Make a motion to suspend the rules and go to
Call the roll.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Moore. Yes. Turner.
Yes.
Give the third reading of ordinance 724.
Transfer.
Question is, should ordinance 724 pass? Call the roll.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Gross. Yes. Johnson.
Yes.
Moore. Yes. Turner.
Yes.
Ordinance 724 is passed. Third reading. Ask the clerk to give a third reading of ordinance 1-24.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor or service director to prepare specifications, advertise a bid, and sign a contract for building a training facility.
The third reading of ordinance 124. The question is, should ordinance 124 pass? Call the roll.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Gross. Yes. Johnson.
Yes.
Moore. Yes. Turner.
Yes.
Ordinance 124 is passed. Old business, new communication.
Nothing I'm aware of.
Okay, our next meeting is February 26th, 2024 at 6:30. Committee event again at 5:45 here at City Hall. Need a motion to be adjourned? Hello. Or
Second.
Andrews. Call the roll, please.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Gross. Yes. Johnson.
Yeah.
Moore. Yes. Turner.
Yes.
And it's adjourned. So,